And let's go ahead and get started. Hey, welcome to Networking in Annapolis. Thank you all for joining us today. We've got Brian Loebig from Loebig Ink. He's going to go over a great workshop with us about Google My Business. Brian is an expert, and we have a lot of great experts here today. Out of the 26 or so people, we've got at least 6 or 7 people in digital marketing space. So welcome to you guys as well. And we're going to go ahead and get started. As a side note, anybody would like to announce anything or join the conversation, our Facebook group is Networking in Annapolis, or it's Networking in Annapolis on Facebook. And we meet every Tuesday at 7:30 a.m. and every Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. So let's go ahead and get started. Lee Crumball, Kat Harvey, do you mind introducing our guest?
I am happy to introduce Brian. So Brian is the founder and owner of Loebig Ink, a small business consulting firm. They specialize in SEO and web design. He started the company back in Philly in 1999. Has come to us by way of Richmond and now is in Silver Spring. Rather new to the group, but an expert on many things, one of which is Google My Business. On a side note, if you know me well, you know I'm interested in music and music trivia, passionate about that. And I just found out recently that Brian is a bluegrass maven. I just wanted to weave in the word of the day. Okay, so no, he is a bluegrass musician. He's a multi-instrumentalist. And if you want to find out what instruments he plays, then you should set up a one-on-one. So without further delay, I give you Brian Loebig.
Thank you, Kat, for that fantastic introduction. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can see from the homepage of my website, you know, that my kind of musical connections there. I used to be I still am a bluegrass musician. Don't play in a regular band anymore. I do open mics and that kind of thing. I decided since Kat is going to say a few things, you know, tell you that I had a little bluegrass music experience, I thought I would play a bluegrass tune for you as an introduction to my presentation.
That's special. Thank you.
Hopefully I adjusted this. There's ways you can adjust the Zoom sound settings so you can hear the guitar better, like you can hear music better over Zoom. So hopefully this will sound okay. Just a little taste. Just one verse.
That was so cool. Thank you so much, Brian. Only at Networking in Annapolis. I'm just kidding. That was so awesome, Brian. Thank you.
You're welcome. So what I'm going to talk about today, the reason I like to kind of brand myself with music is, you know, I have a strong musical background. Half my team, I have 15 people that work for me, and more than half of the people on my team are either musicians, singer-songwriters, poets, and that kind of thing. And so we've done a lot of work with music industry. We built and managed the Bethesda Blues and Jazz Club website. I work with some New York performing artists, Kushner Entertainment. So entertainment is a strong part of our portfolio, you would say. But we also do work with other types of businesses, small businesses as well, business coaches, attorneys, that kind of thing. So what I wanted to focus on today was talk to you a little bit about Google My Business and the importance of a Google My Business profile, even for musicians, and how to generate visibility on the internet. One of the reasons Google My Business is, well, first of all, let me just get a show of hands on the screen and tell me, raise your hand if you are familiar with what Google My Business is. Raise your hand. Okay, about a little bit more than half. That means there's a couple people I didn't see raised hands. So let me go start from the very beginning. What is Google My Business? So when I'm sure everybody's familiar with Google, right? Search engine. And so Google My Business is basically like a business listing on the internet. It would be similar to Facebook, but it's a Google controlled property. A quick way to see a Google My Business listing would be to type in a business name. I've done that on this tab right here. So I typed in Hawk Marketing Services. So when you type in Hawk Marketing in Google, you're going to
do that to me, Brian. I just want to let you know, I knew you were going to do that to me.
You knew that you were going to do that? I like to use you as an example. Because I love your logo and you have such good information. So Hawk Marketing, if you type in Hawk Marketing Services, this little panel on the right-hand side here, this is your Google My Business profile. So if you type in the name of your business, that little knowledge, it's called the Google Knowledge panel. What shows up on the right-hand side there, that's controlled by the Google My Business account. There's actually a couple different ways Google My Business shows up in the search results, though. So the most common one is the knowledge panel here on the right-hand side. Another one is through the maps listing. So if we're going to switch over here to maps. And so if you're on the maps program and you type in Hawk Marketing Services, this is what you're going to see. So John has the pinpoint on his home for his business listing. And then his featured image, his default image is the street view of his house, actually. For some reason, Google chooses what's going to be the featured, image there. You can't control that. You can influence it by uploading photos to your profile, but you can't really control that. And so, if John doesn't want people seeing his home, where he lives, he can change. There's a way to change that. You can say, I serve people at their location, and then it'll create kind of a concentric circle around the region you serve, and then it wouldn't show, your physical listing. This is very important for people who work from home, who have home-based businesses, and you don't want people to see where your physical home is because people aren't coming to your house for services. You're serving them either over the internet or through a co-working space or through, just at their location. And so that's a feature that's available on Yelp now. It's been available for Yelp for a couple years, and Google My Business. You can say I serve people at their location, and so you eliminate the pinpoint.
For me, Brian, just almost everybody in the Zoom call has been to my house.
Okay.
Yes.
That's because they can just get directions to your house and they can go drive.
That's right.
So that's the other most common way that a business will show up on Google. Your Google My Business listing controls this Maps version. It controls the knowledge panel version and the Maps version. And so what I wanted to spend a little time on is first of all, why is this important, and how do you control it? How do you create it? If you're a licensed business in Maryland, it's likely that Google has pulled public records and created a listing for you, whether you know it or not. Because they create that information just like Yelp. Yelp does the same thing. They don't ask your permission to create a business listing for you. They just look at public records and they publish it. And so that's why it's very important to know if you're on the internet. If you're a licensed business, 9 times out of 10 they're going to create a listing for you until you want to go in there and claim it and then optimize it. We're going to talk a little bit about the top thing. I could do 2 hours on this. So we're going to talk about just the top things, like kind of 80-20 rule. We're going to focus on 20% of the things that add 80% of the value for claiming and optimizing these things. Let's see. So I'm actually logged into my own Google My Business dashboard. The way you find out if you have a listing is just search your business name. If your business name is similar to other businesses, you might have to do a little more digging to do that. But the step one to kind of find your Google My Business profile or to claim it is you go to google.com/mybusiness. That's the URL that'll take you through the process of, finding your listing and then claiming it. Google.com/mybusiness.
Brian, can I add one little interjection here?
Absolutely.
A lot of people, when I ask them for their Google account, they feel like they have to have a Gmail account, and that's not true. You can register a Google account with another email address besides a Gmail account.
Yep, that's true. You need to associate your email with Google still though, right?
Yes, but it doesn't have to be a Gmail.
Correct. So this is the kind of the Google My Business dashboard. So when you claimed your account and you log into your Google My Business dashboard, this is what you see. And so this is kind of all the navigation down the left-hand side. This is kind of your home page. One of the new things that happened as a result of the pandemic, this is one of those 80-20 rule things. It's very important for small business. Is Google created this COVID-19 update notice in here, and so this is they've made this very visible. So if you go to a profile, I've got another tab open here. I typed in Action Coach of Rockville, and you'll see if you don't have the COVID notice updated, you're going to see this little warning message. It'll say hours or services may differ. Let's go to the maps listing too. Because everybody wants to know, especially in this COVID environment, everybody wants to know, are you still in business? How are you serving customers? being socially distant and those kind of things. And so this is one of the things, see this group, this Action Coach person in Rockville, they've not updated, I don't think they've even claimed their profile, but they have not updated also their notice on Google My Business for COVID-19. And so you're going to see messages like this all across the internet that says the hours or services may differ to COVID-19. 9 times out of 10 people are just going to leave then because they don't know how you're going to, if you're going to be able to handle them or deal with them. They'd rather go to somebody, that they know how they're going to interact with them. This is also, you can also, that little COVID notice is like at the very top of your listing, which is why it's so important to claim and optimize your profile, because it's the first thing people see right under the directions there. So that's something new that Google My Business came out with. It should be updated all automatic immediately. When you, let's see. The other thing that your dashboard will tell you, it'll give you statistics on your views, your searches, your activity, your performance compared to the previous 30 days. It'll show you your latest reviews. The nice thing about this also is if somebody does review you, you'll get notified by email, by the email you use to claim the account. The other thing that's really kind of useful is this little review form here. When you click on this, I'm going to put this in the chat. So this is what it looks like when you're doing that review form. This is something you can send out to your happy customers if you're doing a presentation like at LinkedIn, like at Annapolis Networking. You can share your Google My Business profile and ask people to leave your review, like how well did you like this presentation or training. It's reviews are one of the top ranking factors for Google My Business listings. The more there's a positive correlation between people who have lots of reviews, and especially positive reviews, and their ranking in the search results. So the more reviews you get, the more likely you're going to be on top. You're going to show up first before your competitors. One of the other ways that you can get visibility, one of the other reasons that Google My Business is so important is because as of the last quarter of 2019, more than 50% of Google searches do not leave the Google platform. It's kind of sobering. So Google being the biggest internet search engine in the land, people are going there to get information, search for services, the kind of services you provide. More than 50% as of last quarter do not leave that platform, which is why Google My Business for your business is so important. It's even more important nowadays than your own website, because people aren't going to your website. They're just looking to get the information off Google and then they leave. And so if you have this Google My Business profile there, it's actually like having your website on Google. And so if you don't have it, you're missing out on 50% of that traffic. Or if it's not updated, if you don't have the COVID notices. And so really it's just, in my opinion, as a search engine optimizer, this is more important. This is just as important or more important, actually, in my opinion, than your social media platforms, especially Facebook. Facebook has like the organic visibility on a business Facebook page is down to like nil, unless you have an advertising campaign. This Google My Business listing is highly organic and is highly visible, and you can see the traffic that comes in there, and it's all free. You don't have to pay for this. It's not part of Google Ads. You can connect it to Google Ads actually and run and let your Google and help your Google My Business profile get up on the page one. We'll be doing that with Lloyd soon probably. But it's all, this whole platform is free. It's all free traffic. So that that's going to bring me to another, like these top things you can do in here. So in addition to, when you go in here, like I talk about all your online profiles, you want to claim and optimize everything you can in these things. So one of the first places you're going to go is the information section. You can put your service areas. You're going to want to put your hours of operation, all this different information. If there's a place to fill out something, fill it out. Click edit and then add information. One of the things that people do very poorly on Google My Business worldwide is photos. And so so what I've done is I put all my team members up there. There's all different kinds of photos you can put in here. You can put in videos. I'm lacking on the video area, as you can see. Here's my team members. There's identity. There's a cover photo. There's my picture there. So photos are really key for business. On average, I was looking at some statistics. In the United States, Google My Business profiles on average have 5 photos in their platform. Restaurants and those kind of things where people take a lot of pictures will have hundreds. Small businesses like ours, like people represented in this Zoom meeting, is usually 1 to 5 photos is kind of like average on these Google My Business profiles. However, let me bring you over this little statistic. The reason I like to focus on this is because images have a real strong search impact on these listings. So website visits with 1 to 5 photos are about 20 average websites visits a month. So when people look at your Google My Business profile and you've got a few photos on there, you're going to get 10 to 20 views going to your website. As you increase those pictures on your website, it starts going up incrementally, and when you get to 100 photos, it goes up exponentially, 100 plus photos. And so it's a lot harder for like business to business kind of groups to add photos, but I would say be creative about how you're doing, how you can do photos. Take picture, if you're a web designer, take pictures of your website, of the websites that you do, and upload those on there. Do all your
Brian,
team members. Go ahead.
A lot of us are networking, and a lot of us take selfies when we're networking. We're having one-on-ones. That could be
Absolutely.
But the biggest thing that you just said is that 80% of the time, 80% of businesses are not doing this. And when Google's trying to look for a good result, this is one of the ways that it can tell whether you're active and you're updating, and those type of businesses tend to be better results.
Yep. And this is an easy way to give you a strategic competitive advantage over 90% of your competitors. People are just not doing this. As you can see, like I don't even have a video on my own page, and I'm it's like the shoemaker's children in some ways. But if you really focus on this, you will have a strategic competitive advantage over all of your competitors. So I do this for my clients. We actually go out on location, and we'll do photos, we'll do videos, we upload it, and we see the traffic. Most of my referrals come through BNI, word of mouth networking, which is why I haven't focused on it quite as much. But I am doing more because I'm getting a lot more organic leads through the website as I've started to do this stuff. So those are some of the key things. There's service areas in here, which I recommend completing all these. You can fill out details of your service areas. You can add subcategories and categories. You can add other users to help people manage the page for you. You can put products if you're a product-based business. You can turn on messaging, so you can actually do instant messaging through your Google My Business profile, so people can message you right from the platform. All that's free and built into the platform. And that's That is my high-level overview of the importance of Google My Business and some of the top things you can do to really stand out in a quick way against your competitors. Any brief questions?
How do we get reviews on Google? How does that work?
Ask your clients. Send out. So I put that little review link. That's key. Like you want to use this little short review form. Share the review form. You want to use this exact review form because this works on mobile and on desktop. When you share that with somebody, when you share that with your customers, clients, colleagues, friends, you want to use that link because no matter what platform you send it on, it'll take them right to the review page. It'll pop up the little 5-star reviews and allow them to immediately fill out your information. One of the things I tell my clients is build it into your process. Like when you complete a project or you've worked with somebody and they're happy, send them that email, that direct email to them and say, hey, word of mouth and online reviews are really important to my business. I'd be overjoyed if you could leave me a review. Don't tell them to leave you a 5-star review. That's annoying. It's like, don't tell them how to review you. Just tell them, you appreciate their business and leave me a review. Guaranteed, if they were, people are going to leave you 5-star reviews if they're happy with what you've done. If you fired your clients, don't send don't send them a review.
And Brian, if I can add something, if you send that out to 10 people, that your 10 happy clients, you might get 1, 2, maybe 3, and the biggest thing with these Google reviews is just what Brian was saying, is being proactive with it. What you don't want to do is log on here one day and see a bad review and go, oh, wow, now you're reactive and you're going to lose business because of that. So great job, Brian.
You're welcome.
Brian, I just want to tell a quick story to the group. A couple of months ago, Ann Brennan was trying to get Suzanne Ratty to 100 subscribers on YouTube. So I figured I need to get 100 subscribers, right? So I'm sitting there like kind of racing Suzanne Ratty to 100. And again, it went right back to hard work, the same way I sold those summit tickets. I went right on Facebook Messenger and asked, 10 or 15 or 20 people that I knew would just quickly subscribe. So it's just back to hard work. If you ask, especially me, Faith, I'll give you one, right? So you just ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
The first thing you do is to ask people that will reciprocate right on Facebook Messenger.
I just wasn't sure how to even send them that link. So
have you claimed Progressive's page yet?
Yes,
Okay,
I have.
cool.
Yeah.
So these type of networks, these kind of close business networkers are networking groups are key to getting reviews. Like if people have experience with you, they understand your service, especially if they've used you or they've seen what you've done. It's very easy to ask people right in Annapolis networking to leave your review.
Perfect.
Brian, I have a question. What do you see when you go out with clients? What are the main things that some of your clients are missing? And what are the things that local businesses can do to have the biggest impact to help with their rankings for the maps?
Rankings for the maps or rankings on Google in general?
For the Google Maps, I'm sorry, Google My Business.
Google My Business, I would say the biggest thing is claiming, optimizing, and using that account. So one of the other things I didn't talk about was posts. So you can, am I still sharing my screen?
Yes.
So you can actually post content. This is what I see actually helps people get more visibility and traffic. This is one of the key things, is you can post messages. Let me show you what my page looks like when you've posted something on Google.
And like you said, Brian, 90% of the people they're claiming their listing, they're setting it up, and they're leaving it alone.
Yeah. So manage it like your favorite social media.
That's
so here's
how Google knows if you're really interested in being a good result.
Yeah, let me see if I can refresh this.
I always speak of Google as like a person. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So you can see here. So they're also, the other thing about Google is they're very slow right now because most of the employees, most of their team is actually working from home. And so it's going to take a day or two actually for updates to get posted. Your products will show up here. Here's my COVID notice. They're faster with the COVID notice things. I did that 2 hours ago, but I also posted last night that I was attending LinkedIn Annapolis. I put it as an event on the Google My Business page, it has not showed up yet. They haven't approved it. So this is all goes through like a manual approval process, which is very interesting. But I would say posting, pictures is huge. I've seen traffic get 5 to 10 times more visibility on the profile and to the person's business page just by posting photos, high-res photos without people in them if it's based on location. I did that for a couple attorneys and a couple dental practices, and their traffic increased significantly.
Another great way to get a review is to give a review. And if you're using the Google Map application on your cell phone, you'll notice there's a little option down there that says contribute. And Google has tracked all the places you've been to in the last couple weeks. Look for somebody in your network, leave them a review. That's putting positivity out in the world. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think, Faith, it's better to ask individual people for a review rather than just say posting in a Facebook group saying, hey, could you give me a review? I think the individual ask is key here.
Yeah, this is something that we want to do at the end of a closing.
Absolutely.
We're going to make copies of everything that we've just signed, and that is the perfect time for the individual or the agent or the lender to respond right then and there.
And that's the photo that you post up in there.
Yeah.
I'm a contributor on Google, and the pictures that I've left in my reviews have received over 250,000 views.
Wow.
If you start interacting with this, you're going to get monthly updates, and it's going to tell you about your Google activity and your contribution activity as well.
Great.
Let me, since Faith mentioned at asking for reviews at closing, let me put a little asterisk on that idea. One of the things that will potentially filter out your reviews, or you might get kind of dinged by Google, is if you're getting people to review you at your location on your own Wi-Fi.
Oh.
So if you're going to have them do reviews, it's very interesting. So Google can see the IP addresses of where people are leaving reviews, and there's a lot of people who try to scam the system.
Yeah.
They try to do fake reviews. And so they look and see if a lot of reviews if it's a restaurant, it's one thing. They realize people could be logged into the Wi-Fi of the restaurant. But for other types of business, small business like yours, like title companies, realty firms, I've seen reviews get filtered out because the people leaving a lot of reviews on the company's Wi-Fi in their physical location. So what I recommend that they do is use their own cell phone service on your location. Make sure they're connected to cell and not your Wi-Fi, so the IP address doesn't show up. So you can still have them do that review in your physical location, but I recommend the cleanest way is to use their own cell phone service, not your Wi-Fi.
Perfect. Very important.
Brian, what about becoming a Google guaranteed business?
You ever thought about that, Stephen?
We're seeing mixed reviews on that. We're doing a lot of that right now, that and the LSA ads. It's a long process. You got to be vetted. It's almost like, I think it's like the Angie's List. And half the people enjoy it and they get great calls if we're talking about like the cost per call, or the other people, it didn't turn out as well. So
explain what that is to the group a little bit.
What's that?
Explain what that is, the Google Guarantee business.
Yeah, it's if they're talking about the same thing, there's ads that have come up above the pay-per-click ads on the top of the screen, and it's not for every vertical, and you won't see it for every search. But basically what Google is doing is what people want when you call for a plumber. They want the best plumber, the best price, and you want that person to be clean when you're walking in the house and have good reviews and all that. So what Google is doing, instead of going, typing in plumber and trying to figure out which is the best one, is it Roto-Rooter, is it Ben Franklin, who are these guys, are they going to screw me over and they take me for a ride, are they going to be clean, rob me? All those things go through people's heads. So what Google is doing is vetting all those people out, doing they basically do drug testing, background checks, and making sure that these are the top companies to call. Now, there's none there right now for that search, but they do go above these paid ads.
Try plumber Annapolis, or plumber location.
There they are.
Yeah.
Yep. And those calls are guaranteed. So those calls are maybe $40, $50, depending on. And there's some pluses and minuses with that. So I'm hearing mixed reviews from my clients right now.
So is that set up through the, so I'm not that familiar with this. That's why I asked you, Stephen. So are these set up through the Google Ads, through like a Google Ads campaign, or is that a separate process? Do you know?
I've never run them, so I talk with my clients about it and we've discussed them, but I've never run them internally. I've been trained
neither.
many times, so I don't know.
Any of the other digital marketing people on the call ever use those or help people run them?
I do not have experience. I have a lot of pay-per-click experience, and I'm certified in Google AdWords, but I do not have experience with guaranteed, and it's a whole nother monster, honestly. And a lot of firms work with like Steve Oliver and a company like Reach Local because pay-per-click is its own monster.
Yep.
It's something you can try. It works for some industries, but it's for everybody on the call. It's not available to every industry.
Yeah.
Very good. I'm going to look up some more information. Thanks for asking that question.
Mm-hmm.
I have to.
It's great because you're locked into a cost per call, so you're not paying $100 per lead one week and maybe $20 the next week. You know what you're getting, but it's like with Service Magic or some of these other companies out there, you don't know the type of lead quality you're getting.
I'm going to put this in the chat so people are interested. They can learn more about it.
I have a question, Brian. What if I go to look at my Google My Business and I want to claim it, but I don't see anything? Like I don't even have a listing. What does that look like?
So if you don't have a listing,
if you don't have anything at all, like you look up your name,
yep.
Like Patty DiMaselli, for example, she might not have a listing at all because she has a newer company.
So what you do is, this is exactly what you do. You still go to google.com/mybusiness. Hopefully this browser isn't connected to anybody. Let's see. Yeah, so this is what you're going to see. So you're going to click on Manage Now. It'll take you, I am connected to a client one on here.
I understand the browser is connected to a Google account. That's why it's automatically logging you in.
Yeah.
But normally it would just be a simple registration process from that main page, right?
Yes. So I was trying to demonstrate it, but I'm not going to be able to demonstrate that. So basically it takes you through, it asks you to type in the name of your business, and then it kind of searches for the business. It's going to give you some suggestions on, is this your business? Is this your business? Is it? And you'll be like, no, none of that is my business. And then it'll take you through the creation process to put your name. It'll ask for a phone number. It's going to ask for the email associated with it. And then it'll go through a verification process. And the verification is all, for a new business, it's going to be a physical mailer. They're going to mail something to your physical address. So every Google My Business page has to have a physical address. That's how they verify, that you're a real business. And so even if you're a home-based business, they're going to send a postcard to your house with a verification code on it. When you get it, then you come back over to Google My Business, verify it, and then you can actually set up and claim and optimize the whole profile before you get the verification card, but it won't go live until you get that verification card and you put in that code. The fact that it's going to your home, like if you're a home-based business, is not a problem, because you're going to tell, in the setup process, you'll tell people that I serve people at their location, so the pinpoint's not going to be on your house.
It'll be more of a parameter like yours is set up. But yours is funny because yours is just Maryland. It's like a diamond.
Yeah.
Listen, these postcards, Brian, these things can be a nightmare as an agency. We both know that these, we try to get our clients Google My Business set up right. And this verification process can be painful. Yes. Sometimes they let you do a phone call, but not all the time. Brian, what's the best advice for, somebody that's moved and no longer has access to the mail at the old location, but wants to update their Google My Business page?
Know somebody that has a direct connection to Google, to the Google support people. So I recommend you reach out to somebody that has done this process, complicated Google My Business processes lots of times. And
Yeah.
so my team, Steven, has probably done it a lot of times where it's complicated and it takes time. I'm dealing with that right now with a group called Larmax Homes, and they had a couple duplicate listings. Like a staff person had created a listing, and then it was on an email that's no longer available, and so it was a duplicate listing, and so we had to go in and claim and remove it, and then claim and optimize the other one. And there's you don't want to lose any reviews, so there's also a process to get the reviews to move over. And so usually you're going to want to you're really going to need to hire somebody like myself or Steven or another digital marketer to help you through with that process. I've written some blogs on how to do it, but there's so many variabilities. Like I've had clients use the blog, but there's so many possible situations that are really unique that it'll work for 50% of the situations, but the other 50%, it's a different process, and you wind up having to call Google, and you want somebody to call Google who has connections with Google, really.
Yeah. And if Google feels like you're cheating the system by having extra locations, it's not good.
Not good at all. Yeah,
That's
you
not
don't
good
want
at
to
all.
make a mistake, because then you'll be off the map.
Michelle and I one time had to go out and take photographs of the location in the road to prove that it was an actual location. So it gets very like, what are you talking about? You have the map, right? We're using your phone to create your maps out here. That's how Google does us. Brian, or does anybody else have any other questions? Because this can get, this is a tricky subject.
Back to the reviews real quick.
Yeah.
I don't remember where I saw this or heard this, but what do you think about having like a separate page on your website or something like that you send people to, and you ask them, flat out, did you have a positive experience? And it's just a yes, no. And if they say no, it takes them to one place to basically send you an email or whatever kind of a thing. But if they say yes, then it takes them to the Google review.
Yes, I love that. Any way you can kind of, especially if you have a lot of clients, you're trying to automate the process. That's I recommend that. I've developed some pages like that. There's actually some online review tools that will kind of automate some of that process for you. But you can do it pretty simply, but just like Kurt is saying, like create a page that you send them to for a review. That way you don't have to worry about them leaving you a negative review. If they leave a negative review on your website, then you can reach back out to them and talk to them about it. If they leave, a positive review, it takes them right to the review page to leave the review online. I love that idea.
That's right. And isn't it, it's okay to, what's the studies? Let me ask them a question for them, because you might know. They say if you have a 5.0, that's great. But if they say if you have like a 4.8, that's okay. If you have like one bad review, is it that the end of the world?
It's not the end of the world. And Steven can jump in there too. But it's really how you respond to the reviews. People read those things. My wife was like, she doesn't go to a restaurant without looking at Yelp. And so she's going to look at what people are saying. If somebody's saying something ridiculous or something, or people are pretty savvy. They're going to look at reviews like, oh, that person has just had a bad day. Or maybe there was something that went wrong, and then you're going to look at the company's response to that review, and did they respond kindly and honestly and fairly? Are they copying and pasting the same response to all the reviews? It's on autopilot. They don't really care about their customers. And so I would say just be human, be really be transparent and be human, and help people. And then just consider it like, that's a public conversation. People are going to see what those reviews are. Actually, and having, unfortunately, unfortunately, all my reviews right now so far are 5-star, all 5 stars on Google on Google. However, I tell my clients it's better to have, a couple not 5-star reviews, so people don't think that these are all just fake reviews, right?
Yeah, there's a mentality.
100%. That's what I was going to hit on, Brian, because when people go to reviews, they're looking for dirt. And that's, you would think that they're looking for all the nice things that people are saying, but really they're looking for the most part of what's bad at that restaurant or that business, and making those decisions. They're going to purchase that product. So having 50 reviews for 5 stars is not necessarily a bad thing. A 4.8 or 4.9 shows that you're human and there could be mistakes that are made.
Yeah,
And also,
absolutely.
one of the other things is if you offer a bunch of different products and services, you want reviews for all those different products and services. So if you're a lawyer, you know, you want to talk about a bankruptcy and you want to talk about the other things, have those people talking about those services. If they're all about, you know, one certain subject, I could be searching for something else, and those reviews really aren't helping me solve my problem. So getting reviews for all the different solutions that you offer or how you've helped people would be tremendous with getting more business.
The other thing you can, I totally agree with that. The other thing you can do with those reviews, you can really leverage that content, right? Since it's a public information, people put it out in the internet. I take those reviews and put them on my website. And then I link back to the platform that somebody reviewed me on. If I know the person, well, I pretty much know all the people who left my reviews. I take it another step further and I actually link to their LinkedIn profile. So that way it's not just, you know, this random review from somebody nobody knows. It's a review from somebody from Google, and let me go check them out on LinkedIn. And if you have a lot of LinkedIn connections, they might actually know somebody who left that review. I've had that happen many times actually, where people will see a review. So for example, like I provide web design, SEO, social media. I have those kind of reviews as examples from those platforms on each of those web pages, and then people can click over and look at the LinkedIn review from that person. It's a huge credibility booster for your website.
A lot of times when you're using WordPress, you can do a plugin and put those reviews. And what I like to do is put the reviews right next to the contact form, you know, and by you putting that verification in there, Brian, to going that one step farther and providing a link, that's just really like, you can't ask for any more than that. You might as well give them their direct phone number, right? So that's really awesome. Brian, do you think that replying to reviews, you know, may, you know, help let Google know that you're responsive, and that, you know, could it actually help gain some listing strength?
Absolutely, because the content that shows up in the reviews, those words that are used are searchable. Those are search engine, you know, it's already on the Google search engine. So anything somebody says is indexed by Google. And so that's another reason you want to reply to all your reviews, even if positive or negative, because all the words you put in there become searchable. So you don't want to start spamming, you know, you don't want to start, you know, putting in, thank you for talking about my web design services. My web design services are great. I'm glad you liked my web design services. You don't want to do something like that. You just want to be human but keep in mind, you know, this content is searchable. So kind of be savvy about that. Here's an example on my, well, can you see my screen? I think I shared it again.
I love how all of these actual items are about honesty, hard work, and consistency. There's no magic sauce here. Everybody can, you know, kind of participate.
Absolutely. So on my coaching page, I used a couple reviews from a couple of my coaching clients. I copy and pasted this right from there. I think it might have been, I'm not sure where they reviewed me, but I linked over here to their LinkedIn profile. You know, if you put a picture of them in there too, it's even better. People, you know, respond to pictures. Very easy to do, and you're really leveraging those reviews for more information, more content on your website, more credibility.
That's awesome. Great information today, Brian. I really appreciate you coming by. We're running about 11 minutes over, but I think we covered a lot. Any more, and I think it'll be an overload. So
yeah.
Guys, thank you all very much for coming out today. We really appreciate it. We appreciate your participation. You know, hopefully I can twist Brian's arm to come back and teach us some more cool stuff in a couple of weeks. Everybody would like that, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, really good information again, Brian. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Actually, you know, Brian left a link in the chat. Brian, post it again if you don't mind, to leave Brian a review. I took a few seconds and left Brian a 5-star review because I just feel like with this workshop and the last workshop, he has really provided our group a lot of value. You know, so if you guys could do the same and go leave Brian of Loebig Ink,
Loebig Ink,
INK online, that would be great. Everybody, we'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you all so much for coming out. I see Tommy's still writing notes. Tommy, I'll see you on Monday. And
she's leaving me a 2-star review.
Thank you.